Shark Tank is a reality show of entrepreneurs pitching their business to investors. It offers viewers a crash course in what works and what doesn't when making your pitch. The series has been successful with 11 seasons in the US and numerous international spin-offs. The Sharks, or angel investors, are well-known and successful business leaders who offer capital and priceless guidance to startups. A sought-after swim in the Shark Tank is a great opportunity for owners to hone their business model. Viewers get direct insight into what to do and, more importantly, what not to do when pitching to investors. Sharks have included sports entrepreneur Mark Cuban, property mogul Barbara Corcoran, and Kevin O Leary and Daymond John. Plus, guest appearances by Richard Branson of Virgin and Sarah Blakely from Spanx fame. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. If you're not subscribed yet, you're missing out. Now let's head into the depths and learn some business lessons from the sharks themselves. Number 1. Know how low you'll go in a negotiation. The sharks didn't get to the top of the business game by being generous. They're ruthless and will take opportunities at the lowest possible price. Several episodes have shown just how fast they start circling when they see blood in the water. One entrepreneur was presented with the choice of several offers from multiple sharks. She couldn't make an immediate decision. During this time, the sharks did some of their own thinking and chatted amongst themselves. When she came back from the break, the sharks offered her lower deals than the originals. Had the entrepreneur done her sums beforehand, she would have known exactly what she could and couldn't accept without hesitation. Before heading into any negotiation, be certain to know your best and worst case figures. Have your head around the different ways figures and percentages could be presented so you're not caught out of your depth. Number 2. Better the shark you know than the shark you don't. One of the most famous sharks is Mark Cuban. His experience and network make him a great investor to have on your team. You can find out more about business lessons from him here. But one thing you do need to know about Mark Cuban before you enter the Shark Tank is, when he enters with a deal and tells you the offer is final, he means it. It's critical to your negotiation's success to know who you're in the water with. Know their strengths and their weaknesses and understand their blind spots. It's the only way to come out swimming. Research everyone you'll be meeting. With Google and LinkedIn, you can learn everything about a potential investor. Then you'll know when to hold and when to fold. Number 3. Get in and out with your pitch. With bloodthirsty, impatient sharks circling, you don't have a hell of a lot of time to get your message across in the tank. Entrepreneurs who aren't able to get their product or service offering across in 10 seconds rarely catch the attention of the sharks. Reduce what your business does to 10 seconds or less. If you can't sum it up, then perhaps you aren't clear on exactly what you do either. If this sounds like gibberish to you, then keep watching. Investors have bigger fish to fry and aren't interested in hearing you waffle about until you finally make a point. Grab their attention, make an impact, and get your message across. If they're interested, they'll ask for details. If not, you haven't given away your idea or wasted too much time. Number 4. Know your own story. If the idea of summarizing what your business does in 10 seconds seems impossible, then you might be looking at your product or service wrong. From Elon Musk to Jeff Bezos, the world is full of business leaders who will give you the same advice. Be sure your product solves a real problem. Do people really want a vacuum cleaner that whistles a Yankee Doodle? Does the world really need a dedicated kitchen appliance for how to butter your toast? When you see a real-life problem and are able to solve it, then you have a great business on your hands. Sharks are interested in how big the problem is. This shows the market size. How many people are struggling to butter their toast with a knife? Or is this a completely new market that will create a new buttery toast consumer? These are figures they'll be considering and using to value your business potential. Now that you understand this, it's time to put your story together in simple terms that show the need and how you fulfill it. Number 5. Know your numbers. On top of knowing how low you can go, you need to show that you understand how you came to those amounts. How is your company valued? What is the return for an investor and how soon? All of these are regular questions any business owner should be able to answer about their venture. If you're going to quote a number, be sure you can unpack it and back it up with a hard fact. Shark Tank has had many entrepreneurs flail when asked about the most fundamental questions about their business, and when this happens with an investor, you're as good as shark bait. Losing an investor isn't only about letting the money swim away. There's another way an investor can add to your bottom line. Stick around to find out. Number 6. An advisor is far more valuable than an investor. Many people enter the Shark Tank just looking for financing. They don't think beyond the benefit of having some of the leading entrepreneurs in business as business advisors. This is far more valuable than the money they bring to the table. A shark like Daymond John, for example, was able to leverage his own network of contacts and get one entrepreneur's product into Best Buy. Lori Greiner, the queen of QVC, will consider investing in any product she thinks has potential in her corner of home shopping. These connections are worth millions more than the small investment sums most entrepreneurs are asking for on the show. Having a successful and well-connected investor on your advisory board is an invaluable advantage to new businesses. Even if you have to settle for less cash up front, the long-term payoff could be worth it. And hey Luxers, if you'd like to learn some more about Daymond John, we have a great video about him too. Number 7. Make a good first impression and don't underestimate your presentation. Entrepreneurs who entered the tank with show-stopping and memorable presentations generally fared better than those who didn't. Amazing Lights owner Brian Lim entered wearing an animated head similar to DJ act Marshmello. He was selling gloves with LED lights in the fingertips that are popular at raves. The presentation was concise and clear on one hand with an impressive $7 million annual turnover on the other. Amazing Lights shook on a deal with the Sharks, Mark Cuban and Daymond John. Cuban handed over $650,000 for a 5% stake, and John took licensing rights and a 20% commission for his troubles. Number 8. Listening is the best way to learn. The Sharks don't hold back on their commentary and advice. Even if they aren't biting, they'll circle back around with some great wisdom for entrepreneurs to apply for future success. Often, entrepreneurs stop listening when they hear rejection, but the pearls of wisdom that follow after an investor turns you down are often the most valuable feedback notes to ensure your next pitch is a success. If you wanted their investment, you must have considered them noteworthy to begin with, so heed their advice as well. Number 9. Be the type of person an investor wants to buy into. Sharks aren't just looking for groundbreaking new products or disrupting technology. They're looking at the people behind the ideas. They're always more excited about people who have likable personalities and are passionate about their business. Be sure that despite the nerves, you get this across in a business presentation. If you can't muster the gusto yourself, then perhaps it's time to consider a business partner who can fulfill this role for you. Number 10. Be prepared to put your money where your mouth is to get an investor to bite. Sharks are weary of taking the first bite out of a business. They want to know you've sunk some of your finances into your venture and are hungry to get a return. Showing you have vested financial interest gives an investor a sense of security that you won't give up at the first sign of disaster. It shows commitment. And just imagine someone asking you to invest in their business if they aren't willing to put any money on the line themselves. It wouldn't seem like a very sound investment, would it? The bottom line is, don't ask for money if you haven't invested yours first. Number 11. Don't fight over crumbs. Often entrepreneurs enter the Shark Tank nervous, but as soon as the sharks show interest, they become a bit smug and demanding. This never ends well, and the sharks immediately retreat, sensing that this is most likely an indication of how the relationship will go. 2 ways to ensure you lose a deal is getting greedy and asking for more once the investor accepts your initial offer. And the other is to quibble over small differences in numbers. It's far more valuable to forego 5% or $10,000 to secure an amazing advisor and investor than to dig in your heels and lose the opportunity altogether. Number 12. Become your own #1 salesperson. If you can't sell your product, then it will never see the light of day. Even if you aren't selling to your customer directly, you will have to sell your ideas and yourself to everyone else, your investors, bankers, and your own team. Sharks invest in people who can sell. Mark Cuban has said time and time again that selling is the most important skill for entrepreneurs to develop. If you aren't sure how to sell, we have plenty of videos to help you on your way. Why not start with this one right here? Number 13. Have options available or you'll be forced to settle for less. When one shark starts circling, the other sharks automatically start getting interested. When no one bites, you usually know it's game over. The best way for an entrepreneur to approach an investment pitch is to know the investor's threshold. At what point do they shut down negotiations? If an offer is placed on the table and you think it might be nearing their closing point, then instead of counter-offering, ask, "Are there any other offers on the table?" You're basically asking if there are any other ways they would structure an agreement. In terms of the Shark Tank, with more than one investor in the room, asking this has often led to another shark putting in an offer even after passing on the first round. If you can add more than one investor to the deal, you're not only boosting each investor's confidence in your business, you're also spreading the load and adding more members to your advisory board. Number 14. Protect your idea with legal measures. Entrepreneurs entering the Shark Tank are often quizzed about how they have protected their idea and how they'll prevent competitor knockoffs. Many people are scared of entering the patent game, but before you start announcing your ideas to investors with their own money, it's best to protect your idea. A patent is a valuable asset in a company, and if done correctly, can be a great investment. Number 15. Stroke the ego, don't knock it. Many Shark Tank conversations have sunk fast when the entrepreneur became defensive at the slightest hint of criticism. In that moment, when your business is challenged, it's easy to get your back up and give a snappy retort. Instead, take a pause. Perhaps it's some sound advice. If the investor has totally missed the mark, try not to prove them totally wrong, but bring them around to your point of view with phrases like, "What about looking at it from this perspective?" Investors often have big egos, so make sure to stroke them just a little. And with that, Aluxers, we're at the end. Which of these business lessons is most valuable to you? And who's your favorite shark from the TV show? Let us know in the comments. And since we're at the end, what could that possibly mean? Your bonus, of course. Here it is. We told you we would explain how you can still add to your bottom line even if you don't get the investment cash you were hoping for. Steve Gadlin entered the Shark Tank with a strange idea. His website allows customers to pay for him to draw a cat. The business didn't have a great scope for growth, and the sharks couldn't really see the return on investment, but they were intrigued by the owner and his enthusiasm. Gadlin asked Mark Cuban if he would offer another form of value to his business, and Cuban was happy to oblige. So what did he ask for? Well, Gadlin asked if Cuban would sign every 1,000th cat drawing he made. This would boost his sales and directly affect his bottom line, as well as bring a ton of credibility to the business with such a big name attached to it. It didn't cost Cuban anything, and he was happy to be part of Gadlin's quirky venture in this way. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question on our website, Alux.com. Thank you for being an Aluxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.